welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. This is our live in-studio show. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine, Chip the Prophet Hainer. We seem to have some glitch in the control room. I did talk to 6 new volunteers, and they may be starting as early as next week. So we'll see what happens. There's some interference.
Al is Al, too.
Smoking Jim Frazier. That's our other guest. With this new smartphone, I don't know. I check out things, but I can't see a lot. We don't get a lot of good coverage for my 4G. Zach Brenner, we don't know where he is. Hopefully he's on his way. Anybody that watches this tonight or next week and you try to find out about Zach, all the 4 people that watch it, you know who you are, plus me. So we'll check that out. But this is live on TV right now. We're seen everywhere on Verizon 32 from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, City of Pittsburgh, Mount Washington. I talked to a couple people. They saw us right in downtown Pittsburgh. A couple friends of mine said, it's nice watching your radio show. So I don't know where that comes up, but Smoking Jim, that seems to be what we get. And thank you for watching us on Verizon 32. And it doesn't say it on TV. So when you go to the low numbers, and that's the public access, it says community, television, and then that you have to trust that it's Verizon 32 because that's where I told you to go. And then in Comcast 7, thanks everybody for watching it. The new people that are watching, I hear every day somebody goes, let's watch, where do we watch your show? And I keep telling them Tuesday through Saturday night. Don Campiti said 11 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning. Then he goes, I saw you 11 at night, another night. He goes, you guys are on every day. So thanks, Don Campiti. I won't say where I met him or saw him.
So we're not going to let everybody in on the secret that we're trying to take over the world?
We are just about everywhere. I don't know how it happened. But thanks for watching us here locally in Bethel Park on Comcast 7. Thanks to Dave Cable for letting us do this show. I just wanted to tell you, I'm pretty thankful and proud. This is our 199th show. So next week, that means there's 200. I don't know what surprises I'll have for the boys and girls in the TV world, but we may have something next week. But it'll be 200 shows next month, Tuesday night. So it's been a heck of a run over 4 years. Thanks for all our original fans, our new fans, and the ones that keep watching us. So thank you. And I have the streak that won't be broken, Chip. I'm like Joe DiMaggio. So.
I'm telling you, man, there are records that are made to not be broken.
It's not. Each day's a record for me on this show. I don't know how I've been able to do it, except it's my show. So we've done it pretty well. And Zach Brenner, I don't know where he's at. That's the final call for him. We'll see what's going on. I want to thank John the Tiger Kiger on camera. He isn't playing any games because ever since I got this smartphone, I could just take a photo of him. So he doesn't want me to send it to his mama. So thanks for Chris being out there and Matt Harkins. I don't call him no-show because for some reason he shows up for pizza every Tuesday night. And, of course, Devin Shea. Devin Shea is our man in control there. I really don't know what he does because when I go out and look, he's just sitting there. So, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Hey, Devin, I know what you do. You make me look good, right?
Chip, I don't know. You better check that mirror.
That's a big bill to
this. He's working hard on that. Thanks, Devin. I appreciate it. All the hard work you do and on location. You're one of our leading volunteers. So a hand for Devin Shea. As long as he doesn't get hit by a bus or get trapped somewhere with the military in Honduras or wherever he might go, he'll be here. That's for sure, and we appreciate that. I might kid him a little bit because he definitely deserves it, and it's not all in good fun, but he understands. That's some tough love, and he gives it out too as much as he takes it. Now, we start our I got to announce one more thing. Smoking Jim, you're all over Facebook. You like everybody's page, and I like when you do it, except for the stuff you were talking about the other night. Couldn't get rid of it, so it was like some virus. Penicillin didn't help you this time. We are now up to 4,781 likes. So that's a little over 2 years. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate the likes, and I just like 10 more people in their pages, Jim, because they were actually nice pages. So I had to go back and check that. We're going to start our first segment, but hold it. We got to do this. John, are you ready? Because I've been taking it easy on you. Did you get a close-up? This is Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. And Smoking Jim Ryan, the manager there, told me to tell you on Mondays they're running a $1.99 pizza, not just for you, because they've cited you there. One of the young guys said he did. I described you. Of course, I didn't say you were standing next to watermelons or anything, because that's what you would do. But he said, yeah, that guy sounds familiar. So I'm like, okay, maybe he does come here. Now we need to help another young man out. We've been doing this. This is for September 12th, 3-on-3 basketball. And it's Heart and Heroes. You take whatever one you want. Don't take the green one for Smoking Jim, Chip.
I'll give it back.
And you can still register for this. Go online, check it out. Hearts and Heroes. The signs are in my yard. But by the way, the other day, a lady from the Post-Gazette called me up. I only had a little warning from Steve Englert, Steven's dad, and he said I was going to get an interview on the Post-Gazette talking about what Steven's doing. So thanks for the Post-Gazette. That's supposed to come out this week, talking about, Hearts and Hoops. So that helps the American Heart Association. So it's a good cause. Plus, you get out there and compete at South Park. 3-on-3 basketball. Give them a call or check out their website. It's very easy to register. I was there. And I'll be out there. I'm going to stop in on the 12th and see what's going on there. It's a good cause. Thank you. Now we're going to start What's on Your Mind. I heard that voice coming in, and we're going to have a ruckus here in a second. We're going to pause while this... Come in. Come in, Zach. I delayed it just enough so we can just go right to you.
He's on.
All right, Zach Brenner, get that mic on, or at least hold it up. Don't put it in your chains. They told me watch what he does with that because they can't adjust it. But we're ready to start. What's on your mind? So, Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, Levine, the talking machine. I can't recall in 31 years of training camp at Latrobe when we had two kickers get hurt in a single preseason camp. I'm kind of
One disclaimer. I have to interrupt because this has been bugging me.
What is this thing?
There's a problem whenever I interrupt anybody. It sets off the microphone or something. Now, how old are you?
31.
Okay. When were you born?
84.
And May 30th, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you just said in the 31 years of you going to Latrobe, or Latrobe as it is. So now you got June, July, we got August. So actually you only missed 3 months of Latrobe. Now I think we're getting some fiction from you because I've been researching the videos because the people in Munhall are not helping me out. When did you actually know there were Steelers? Because I heard you didn't talk till you were 10 years old. So tell me the truth now.
Nevertheless, folks, I could never remember in 31 years on Earth, so that's 31 renditions of training camp at Latrobe. They've been there for 50 years. When two kickers got hurt in a single preseason, which got me to thinking, as this Tom Brady debacle drags out in court, about CBAs and negotiations and how Al Levine says there's give and there's takes. Well, I think one of the big things right now that's being taken away is the ability for these coaches to really push these players and to really make them hit. And when I mean hit, I'm talking about it the day after we draft you and we bring you in. We could have you pounding a sled down in the South Side. We got too soft. We got too soft in this league, the National Football League, because of all the hits. But it's a very violent, nasty game, and there's not going to be any way to alleviate that. That's just the way that it is. So to continue to try to take away practices, not practice in pads, not full contact, these little drills where the guys just run around, man, without really hitting each other. I don't think it's doing the sport any favors in the long run because guys are getting hurt without even getting hit. So I propose to Roger Goodell, and I know Smoking Jim now has a clear line of communication to the commissioner, and there's proven sources, Levine. I think there's 5 or more solid references But I propose taking away 2 preseason games, Smoking Jim, adding 2 regular season games. There's already a bye week, so I think that's that's one of the easiest ways to alleviate a lot of this. And let's go back to hitting fast and hitting hard, because it's a game where you hit. This isn't a game of running around and sliding and diving. There's physical contact on every single play, and there's a risk of getting hurt on every single play. And that's just the way it is if you play in the league. That's why there's only 1,500 available players out of millions on earth.
There's 2 reasons why that won't work, Zach. 2 reasons only why that won't work. One is the owners and one is the players' union. The players' union will never agree to 2 more regular season games, and the owners are never going to agree to give up their 4 preseason games.
Well, they want less preseason.
Since I don't like the rebuttal part or revisit, what happens is I've told you like you're rewriting history. Well, this isn't even history, and they have a CBA that both parties agreed on. Your man Charlie Batch had great comments when he was on one of the radio shows. He talked about a lot of analytics went there. A lot of financials went in there. They won't do 18 games because of the way the pay and the pensions are put together that they've agreed upon, because the percentage just wouldn't work out. So that's one reason, the financials. The other point is the physicality of the game. Because of the risk and the lawsuits that the NFL's been avoiding and settling, they had to make a deal like this. You think that they don't want people getting hit on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, and you got to do all these walkthroughs? You're crazy. But you got lawyers involved in it because they won't sign a disclaimer like I said. I said, how would you solve it? Because you guys asked me. Have every football player sign a disclaimer that they're not going to sue after their career's over or their family. And then some of the business will come back. But the way it is now, you're just blowing smoke. For the simple fact, like Charlie Batch, who was a player rep, said that it's not going to change during the duration of this CBA. And you had today James Harrison, who I don't appreciate when he talks because it's usually self-serving. He made one of the best statements ever. He said, I voted against the CBA because of Goodell and what he does, and he will uphold the ruling by going to the letter of the law with Brady. So in other words, here's Harrison who hates Goodell. The Steelers were the only team and franchise to vote against the CBA. So we all feel this way, Zach, but it's not going to change. So that's the part. You can keep bringing it up, and it's a good point. I don't mind talking to it, but there is the counterbalance. Other facts do come into this, and that's why they signed a compromise. So,
well, like I said, just to finish real quick, Smoker Jim, how you get a player that you drafted in the 2nd round, a cornerback, and you can't really put him through the motions until June or July, and now he's hurt, now he's on IR for the rest of the season. We needed that cornerback. We needed that draft pick. We could ill afford to have anything really take place like that, and to not be able to, to really evaluate these players because you can't really do anything with them until you get into July. I mean, I just think,
How many teams are in the league? Don't they all go through the same
32.
thing? Okay, thank you. I rest
but
my
I'm only
case,
worried
Your
about
Honor.
one.
Well, that's your point. That's part of what people are seeing through this. We know we're Steeler fans. If you think I like any of this, I might have to predict they're 6-8 this year because they're or not, whatever, 6-10. I'm sorry, I got crazy because of the great. I mean, look at what they look. They're not great. There is no standard. There's no standard. I mean,
just to kind of wrap this up with a bow, the reason why they got things the way they are now, and the players are smart. They're not all complete idiots, but they look at it this way: I spend the first 3 years of my rookie contract on the injured list, then I don't have any wear and tear on my body until I actually start getting paid, and then they'll start playing.
That's some of them, sure. People are always looking for an angle. You can't tell me anybody on this panel doesn't shoot any angles in life or business, because when I look over there, I see no angels.
They're not gonna play if they ain't getting paid, right?
Well,
they sure do play.
How many draft picks, Smoking Jim, do we have left now? That we've traded for Boykins. Now we traded for a kicker. We're not gonna have any draft picks next year. We're like,
why do we need them? Because mostly they suck.
That's Jim.
Well, that's the only way we get players.
Their draft picks
That's the only way we
I
get
can already
players.
evaluate next year.
D-.
Hey, folks, thanks for listening.
25 years of counting.
I don't know if anybody's learning anything except if you've been alive for 31 years, you've seen every Steeler camp. And God bless America that that's true. We can all say that because I got to call his mom up. I'm calling Lois up. I got her number. You know I got her number. I want to know when you saw these games. But I appreciate your energy here. And that's not happening, Zach. And I'm glad you're a Steeler fan because I am too. And it's not going to look very good.
Get off your son-in-law's back.
Who's back?
Oh, man.
I don't know. Smoking Jim, are you ready to talk?
Yes.
All right. Because that sandbox is pretty full. You got sand in your eyes, too. What's on your mind, Smoking Jim Frazier?
Tell Levine the talking machine, and if you want the green,
It's coming.
you got to see Levine. I had the light in my eyes.
I don't know. How come I look so dark in here?
That's it, man.
I was out in the sun 5 minutes today. That was it.
Well, I tell you what, I overslept a little bit today because it's September 1st, and in 210 days I go back to work. So working 3 days a year takes it out of you, takes a toll on you.
I'm telling you.
But, hey, what's on my mind is
I can't wait.
most people that know me know that there's probably about 5 football players in the history of Baldwin High School worthy to be talked about. If you go back to the 60s, maybe Dave wants that. But a kid that is worthy is Ian Wout. What the Pittsburgh Steelers did to that young man is a shame. He's a kid that's 6 foot, 205-pound safety, probably the best defensive player in practice throughout training camp and blowing people up. This is a young man that when the Pittsburgh Steelers had a rash of injuries at linebacker at 205 pounds, they put him in to a preseason game for a whole half at middle linebacker. Not only did he make plays, but he sacked the quarterback. And he was the first player cut yesterday. And the only reason that I believe that he was cut was that he's white. You know, listen, this is a young man who, you know, look at it. He's never been arrested for shooting at police helicopters. He's never got shot in the butt. He didn't fail a drug marijuana test 4 times. You know, this guy was not arrested for dog fighting. There's a criminal element in the National Football League, and that name is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. I don't know how you could say you're friends with anybody on the Steelers, or you're even a scout for them, but we're going to move on. Chip, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. Well, what's on my mind is we hit the 1st of September. We actually have a full-blown pennant race going on here in Major League Baseball. I'm really excited about the next coming, actually for this month specifically. You know, this weekend, Pitt football starts brand new, and there's a lot of positive energy coming out of Oakland. And Pat Narduzzi, I wish you well. You know, hopefully he will. His enthusiasm will equate to some wins this year. You know,
Just
I like
so it's
that.
not high octane.
Hey, it's not high octane. It may be something, but it's not high octane. Also, I wanted to also make a note of high school football kicks off this Friday. One of the biggest sports attractions in Western Pennsylvania. Far outstrips the Steelers, the Pirates, and everybody else. Yeah. High school football has been the bread and butter of this part of the country. The games kick off on Friday night, so we've got college football. We've got high school football. The Steelers will eventually start the season. And, yes, let's not forget Jim's perennial all-time favorite, the University of Gateway. But, besides that, we've got the Penguins going to training camp here in a couple of weeks. A lot of buzz about the Penguins with the signing of Phil Kessel. And also, if anybody pays any attention, I know not many people around here do, but the U.S. Open tennis tournament just started the other day. And there is an event that has only happened 3 times previously that somebody is on the precipice of achieving this year. Serena Williams is on the verge of winning a Grand Slam Which,
Calendar Grand Slam.
calendar Grand Slam, which is the only kind of Grand Slam there is.
Right.
If you don't win it all in one
But
year,
you have to
it doesn't
clarify
count.
because they've watered stuff down.
Well, yeah,
by-
they try to water things down.
Yeah.
But there's only been 3 other women in the history of tennis that have won the Grand Slam. That's winning all 4 major tournaments in the same calendar year. Serena Williams, all she has to do is win the U.S. Open. She's got the other 3 under her belt. But there are quite a number of other women that have won 3 of the 4 majors and didn't bring it home on the U.S. Open. So we wish her well, but I'm just going to kick back and enjoy the sports that's about to happen, because if you're a sports fan, this is going to be the best time of the year. So it's on my mind.
Chip, I got to agree with you there. I know we disagree on a bunch of things, but you're so spot on there. And you know what's even better? Being a sports fan in Pittsburgh. Because you got a pennant race, and you got the biggest Steeler fans on our panel. Wondering what's wrong with this. Oh, that's not on my mind. I'm sorry. We'll talk about Steelers
We'll get
later.
to that.
I got some stuff to talk about right now. Not only do we have everything Chip said and whatever these guys said, but Smokin' Jim and I are doing boxing at the Priory Hotel in the Presidential Grand Hall. It's just a great venue, and this is amateur boxing. Check out the Facebook event page that I have for it. It's $20 for general admission. Jack Mook, the detective that's been on TV, that adopted 2 sons that were in foster homes. He's the guy in charge of Steel City Boxing Gym. Just an honor to have him on the show. Now, this is going to be the north side, and if you know anybody from north side, it's only north side against the outside. I was talking to the commissioner in boxing, Rick Steigerwald, most of Saturday night at MMA fighting, no matter what Zach believes. I did have a space there because he was sitting right there as somebody was crowding me into talking about boxing and MMA. So Rick Steigerwald was there, and he was talking about the event on Friday. He goes, there's a lot of competition with other sports. I said, here's the thing. You got a lot of boxing families involved there. You got some new people that want to be at boxing, and you have a great venue. It's $20. So I could understand, with all the other teams playing in football in the neighborhoods, I still think it'll be a great crowd. Come on out. They got beer and food, and you'll see some great young boxers in the area. So check that out. That's what's on my mind. And we're going to cover a bunch of other sports after we do our special segments coming up next. Smokin' Jim, I don't know if I'm ready for this. You were so short on your first opening. You must have been studying all the historical facts, but could we get some fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine, and this may be short as well. Listen, at the Pittsburgh Steelers, from a football standpoint, did an excellent job bringing in Michael Vick, in my opinion, for the simple reason is the majority of players on the Pittsburgh Steelers team grew up idolizing Michael Vick. Most of those guys grew up wanting to be Michael Vick. In the black community, there's probably 3 players who get the attention of all the youth, and that would have been Mike Tyson, Allen Iverson, and Michael Vick. And that draws me back to my fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. Turnover Tommy Maddox was having one of the greatest games, if not the greatest game in Pittsburgh Steelers history. I was there at Heinz Field in 2002. Tommy Maddox threw for 473 yards, got out to an early 34, put up 34 points. Plexico Burris that day set a Pittsburgh Steelers record with 9 catches for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. Came up short on the 3rd touchdown, was probably sent the game in the overtime. Atlanta Falcons was outplayed, out-talent, out everything. It was one of the Pittsburgh Steelers' greatest games. Michael Vick was getting booed by all the fans, 70,000 fans at Heinz Field. But by the end of the game, he got a standing ovation. He came back in the 4th quarter with his 4.25 40 speed. He came back and was literally unstoppable, probably maybe one of the best all-around efforts you ever want to see at Heinz Field. A total superstar, tied the game 34-34, and it ended up being a 34-34 tie at the end in overtime. So that 2002 game, which went down in Pittsburgh Steelers history with Tommy Maddox and Plexico Burress still holding records, and the Pittsburgh Steelers were the second team in NFL history with 672 total yards of offense that day, which was second all time at that particular time in NFL history. And Michael Vick was able to bring under-talented Atlanta Falcon team all the way back to tie that great Pittsburgh Steelers team. So that's my fiction and facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac, all the way back to 2002.
That's one of your records, Smoking Jim. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very informative. Now for Chip's trivia time.
I got a number of different things here for you folks this evening, and we'll start off with, I've mentioned that there were 3 other women that had won the tennis Grand Slam, and the 3 women's names would be Maureen Connolly Brinker, who won the Slam in 1953. Now also Miss Brinker won 3 of the 4, at least 4 or 5 times. Margaret Court, there's another lady that won a Grand Slam in 1970. And she and herself won 3 of the 4 on a number of occasions. And the last person to win the women's Grand Slam was Steffi Graf. She did that in 1988. So it's happened 3 times in the history. So, you know, if it happens with Serena, we'll find out in 2 weeks. It will be quite an accomplishment.
I got money on it.
You got money on it, Jim.
Don't tell me you bet the house.
He's got heavy money on it, folks. And, you know, it don't get any heavier than Jim's money.
Oh, he's sitting on it.
Yeah, I know. If you just quit bringing pennies. Okay, so I'm going to put my friend Jim on the spot here because this is a question that Jim Frazier should know the answer to, and I guarantee you he doesn't. UCLA product Garrett Cole pitched for the Pirates last night. This was a few days ago.
I didn't know he went to UCLA.
Only one athlete who played for baseball for UCLA has been inducted into the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame.
Jackie Robinson.
There you go, man.
4 points,
there you go.
Sports star at
I
UCLA.
knew, I for sure thought he was not going to get that.
He hasn't studied baseball, but he studied Black History Month.
Oh, really?
Because they made him. And he's mentioned
Never drank and took meds at the same time.
Okay, so here that one, and on that
Well,
note,
anytime, right?
I will include this one. Brooklyn's Dan Bankhead. Do you know who Dan Bankhead is? Didn't think so. Became the first African American pitcher in the majors on August 26, 1947. He homered in his first major league plate appearance, but did not fare well on the mound. In 3 1/3 innings of relief, he gave up 10 hits, 6 earned runs to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who won 16-3.
Wow. That's why he doesn't remember it.
Yeah, see, selective memory loss.
Yeah.
Okay, the first, August 26, 1939, the first Major League Baseball game was televised by WXBS. They brought their cameras to Brooklyn's Ebbets Field for a doubleheader between the Reds and the Dodgers. Staying with August 26, Milwaukee's Paul Molitor went 0 for 4, ending his 39-game hitting streak, which came in, I believe came in 4th place all time.
Behind Pete Rose.
Well, behind Pete Rose, Pee Wee Reese, and then Paul Molitor, but none of them touched the Joe DiMaggio. Randy Johnson on August 26, 1999, reached 300 strikeouts in record time, notching 9 and 7 innings to help Arizona beat Florida. Johnson achieved this milestone in his 29th start of the year.
Wow.
And back to hitting streaks again, Vladimir Guerrero on August 27, 1999. His hitting streak was halted at 31 games. So doesn't happen very often. And throw over to the Big Red Machine of the 70s. You know, Jim likes to believe that Pete Rose was the best player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much. Joe Morgan of the Cincinnati Reds hit his 200th career home run to become the first player in Major League history to have 200 home runs and 500 stolen bases. Ricky Henderson on August 27, 1982. Broke Lou Brock's 1974 record of 118 stolen bases in a season and stole 3 more bases to raise his total to 122 thefts in 127 games.
A lot of brothers.
And I'll tell you something. What guys are doing in stolen bases at this time in Major League Baseball makes what Ricky Henderson did so much more impressive because, the guy that leads the league in steals now steals 25, 30 bases, and he did 5 times that. So, that's a pretty impressive streak. Jeff Kent became the first player to hit 300 home runs as a second baseman on August 27th, in 2005.
Before or after Barry Bonds beat him up?
Okay, Nolan Ryan, August 28th, 1977, struck out 11 batters to pass the 300-strike plateau for the 5th time in his career. He hadn't even been in the league 10 years, and he'd already had 5 seasons of 300 strikeouts.
Wow.
Also, I made a mention of this on Facebook yesterday, and I don't want to be remiss. August the 30th, Ty Cobb made his major league debut, hitting a double off of Jack Chesbro of the New York Islanders in the Tigers' 5-3 victory.
Spikes up.
So,
I've
I've only got a couple more here, and I'll get to this one I found interesting. Tom Hughes of the New York Yankees on August 30th, 1910, pitched a no-hitter for 9 1/3 innings before giving up a single to Harry Niles of the Cleveland Indians. The Yankees lost 5-0 with Hughes giving up 7 hits in 11 innings. So, his no-hit bid. And last but not least, there's 2 more. Pirates pitcher with the most career home runs, played on the 1960 World Champion Pittsburgh Pirates, Vernon Law. Saw him at the stadium. He was honored on Saturday night.
Still living?
Still alive and kicking. And there are 2 teams in the history of Major League Baseball that have never won a division title. Those teams would be the Seattle Mariners and the Montreal Expos / Washington Nationals. Neither of those teams has ever won a division title in their existence.
There's no more Montreal Expos?
They're the Washington Nationals.
I didn't know that. Matty Alou. Where's Matty Alou?
After Major League Baseball took over the franchise, they moved it to Washington.
Is that right?
You know what? It doesn't get any better than this. Renee, I know you watch our shows up in the Market District along with other friends, and you're not going to learn anything. You're going to know less after you watch this because we try to teach you about baseball, major leagues, and what goes on.
Dan Bankhead, right, Jim?
He's drawing a blank. And then
picture.
Here's what's so ironic when I talk about rewriting history. He's clapping for Ty Cobb. Smoking Jim, even if you didn't see a movie or hear about him.
He had a reputation for being a bit on the racist side.
Like totally.
Well, my favorite football player was Bill Romanowski, and he didn't like blacks either.
He didn't like anybody. He didn't like his mother.
Yeah, but here's what I don't understand, man. Since we're talking about Smoking Jim. Now, we don't know how old he is. We don't know where he went to school, except he claims Gateway. And then he writes for the Pittsburgh Courier, who makes him only write about, and he's told me this, I don't know, if this is false, then I stand
corrected.
People your
color.
This color, I don't know what's going on, but look, I look about 10 shades lighter than Smoking Jim. This is not a spray-on tan.
I don't know. Devin Shea was overseas, man.
I don't know what they did. What's this Al on?
Al on, I love it.
I'm on air. Well, thanks for that little interruption there, folks. We appreciate it. Like I said, thanks for watching, because I know it's a struggle at times. I'm trying to sift through what are facts, what are fiction, and I can't really decide tonight. So, Zach Brenner, we got Z time. I can't wait for Z time because you've been so quiet and respectful. Let's see what happens.
Well, only because I worked a long, hard day.
You know what? He's the only man. Nah, no, he's not. Everybody works.
I don't know during the segments if we're going to talk about Saturday night Pinnacle Fighting Championships 11.
We were going to try.
Halloween. But I was fortunate enough to only miss one fight on Saturday night before I finally made it to a great event.
Why?
The
you
previous
working?
night before, goes without saying. The
Okay,
previous
he was
night
working.
before, I ran out and helped a assembled a cage and put it all together. So I knew I probably wasn't going to make it exactly on time. Smoking Jim, the Parkway outbound was shut down, so it really messed things up. But,
so you were working in the Pinnacle cage. You didn't even say that. Damn it. Sorry, folks. Try not to delete that. But he actually works when he's having fun. So work is ubiquitous. It doesn't matter in his terminology. And look that up in the Funkin' Wagnalls here. Just study that when you get a segment.
Ooh, right on the tip. Right on the tip.
All right. Go ahead, Zach. Continue. So you worked at the ring and you got that cage going.
I can't read, but it says faulty diction. Doesn't it say faulty diction? But so hey, we got there on Saturday. Finally got there. Got to sit between my esteemed colleagues, Smoking Jim Frazier and Al Levine. To make a long story short, Al Levine was talking to Staggy pretty much the whole time, and Smoking Jim was talking to Jesse to my right. So I pretty much was in a league of my own, just taking it all in by myself for the most part in the middle. But what I took away the most was I was happy that Smoking Jim stayed around to actually see the Honey Badger in action.
My favorite.
Don Mazzarda came out, man. I tell you what, with a vicious kick that put his opponent out, and we got a new bantamweight champion of Pinnacle, crowned by none other than Cody No Love Garbrandt, who was a original find of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Al Levine's over there eating pistachios or something.
No, I found the Skeets card. I was going to give it to you. It's a magnet here.
Good catch.
Ooh.
Good hands.
Ooh. You could have that from Skeets.
Another Jesse James with the hands.
A little bit tougher than Jesse James, Smoking Jim, and a little bit more disciplined.
Because he works.
As far as the not going to be.
He works.
Any false starts. We're not going to have multiple back-to-back false start penalties, that's for sure. But again, I just wanted to take the time real quick, though, to thank Pinnacle Fighting Championships, Pittsburgh Sportsline, Layshaw, Click, McKinney, Levine, Smoking Jim Frazier, the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission,
Greg Rudolph,
obviously, the Lumberjack,
His girlfriend
Kendall, the Rain Car Girls, especially Amanda.
Yes.
And
which one? There's two of them. There were two of them there.
She knows which one. That's all that counts.
Dawn Lane.
Smoking Jim knows too.
What about Amanda Tooch?
But
was she there?
I just think how fortunate we are to continuously at Pittsburgh Sportsline for being such a small outfit to constantly be riding, the resurgence of so many different fronts. Whether it's amateur boxing, professional boxing, or cage fighting, you won't find a more consistent media outlet or trio or group or contingent in the whole city or southwestern Pennsylvania, other than Pittsburgh Sportsline. So from unicycles to to raising awareness for childhood cancer, it is September. Joey, everybody misses you. I know your dad misses you, man. It breaks my heart to read those posts from your dad every day, but it just kind of, I just keep plugging away and trying to bring as much attention to it as I can, little guy. So
here, pass this down to him. They gave me some information. Here, give this to Z-Time. He can read a little bit off that and show it. Since I was going to bring it up and you stole my thunder there, stay Joey strong.
You just want me to read?
Well, it's September's Children Cancer Month, so that ties in. They're going to be selling yellow shirts and everything that you can buy from them. So we'll reach out to them. Go to the Joey Fabus Cancer Foundation. Check it out. And DIPG.
Yeah, speaking of DIPG, which stands for Diffuse Intrinsic Pontine. Pronounce that, Smoking Jim. You're good.
I can't see it.
Butchered that.
You know what? Just call it DIPG.
DIPG
it's a rare form
is an
of
inoperable
cancer.
brain tumor located in the most essential part of the brain stem. Considered rare, DIPG attacks approximately 300 children per year. The survival rate is 0. Every child diagnosed with DIPG will die from DIPG, usually in less than a year's time. Despite the wealth of this great nation, very, very little money is geared towards possible cures and or better treatments for DIPG. Currently, the only treatment for DIPG is the same treatment the medical community has used for the past 30 years, which is radiation of the tumor. Radiation does indeed shrink the tumor, but unfortunately, DIPG has an evil mind of its own. It comes back with vengeance. On January 21st, 2015, surrounded by his loving family, Joey Fabus died because of DIPG. This should never have happened, not to Joey, not to those who died before him and not to any other child affected with DIPG. The Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation began in honor of Joey Fabus to let the world know what a great kind of person he was and how his smile changed the lives of many people who never even met him, and how his life and his death will never be forgotten. We want the world to know about Joey and about every child with DIPG. Our other purpose is to raise enough funds through several fundraisers throughout the year. Those funds will be donated to successful DIPG research facilities around the world in the hopes that one day we will find a better treatment and possible cure for this awful disease. With your help, we can do this. Remain as you are, Joey Strong. To make a donation, please go to www.gofundme.com/JoeyFabusFDN or go to Facebook, Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Louis.
That was a great combination with us bringing that up because it is a sad thing, and we've been involved in different events with that. So if you can support them, and anything to beat childhood cancer and cancer in general. So you'll see a lot of people with yellow and gold this month. So that's what that's about. So thanks a lot, Zach, for tying into that. On our locations, we don't have one for Monday, but I'm in talks with after Labor Day. All I need to do is get an agreement. Have to talk to 2 different owners with a couple locations. We're that close, so any day now I will be announcing where we'll be going next. So stay tuned there. We appreciate all your support. And like I said, we're doing a lot of great things out there with fundraisers. Just talked to a couple other people. Wanted to shout out to Ryan, who makes that special slice of pizza for me that's usually different. Here he coaches hockey for kids from 6 to 12 years old. Wow. So we may have him on. He actually played hockey himself, so he's in charge, of the junior hockey team, the Junior Hawks. So we'll have him on as a coming attraction. It's funny how we get a sponsorship from Olive Oil's Pizzeria, and here the manager there's a big sports enthusiast. So he loves our show, and we'll check that out. We'll be doing more things in the future. Let's go to Bucko Talk since we're in a pennant race. These are some exciting times. Now they play the Brewers, who we are 6-6 with this year. I mean, we have a great record this year, but we're only 6-6 with the Brewers. We need to win tonight. I don't want any excuses or anything else. You got Cole on the mound. Let's just go out, cut it loose. We need these wins right now. This is the time to do it. There's a 9-game road trip. No better time than now.
9-game road trip against Central Division opponents. We've got 3 against Milwaukee. We've got a big series this weekend in St. Louis, and then followed by a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series in Cincinnati. And Major League Baseball, in their infinite wisdom, sometimes doesn't think about the logistics of the games. And the Pirates originally were slated to play the Cardinals at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. Well, national TV got involved, and so they bumped this Pirate game to the 8 o'clock game on Sunday evening. So it's on national TV, but that's great because next day, Monday, they have to play at 1 o'clock in Cincinnati. So I don't really think that's really fair to the Pirates, but we sure could use the national exposure. But what we've got going on now, we've got 33 games left in the season. Okay, we're in a stretch run for the playoffs, and right now the Pirates are going into this with the attitude as they are just trying to win the game that they're playing today. And as long as they stay focused on what's immediately in front of them, they don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. They just need to take care of their business. They're pretty well focused on that. The Pirates bench is the deepest I've ever seen it. The pitching staff has got some depth. There's been some questions about the starting pitching lately. But A.J. Burnett looks like he may be starting, I think, in 2 weeks against the Chicago Cubs. He's go ahead.
Has there ever been a wild card team to win 100 games? Because I think the Pirates can win 100 this year.
The Pirates could win 100 games. The Pirates win 100
games. Are you sucking
games.
up the chip now?
No, I'm just saying they're going to be a wild card.
Listen to me. If the Pirates win 100 games this year, they're going to win the division, just like I told you. Okay? That's all I got to say about that.
I can't. That's why I said, were you sucking up the chip? He's predicted the championship this year.
Well, it looks like they're going to win 100 games, but still be a wild card.
No, if they win 100 games, they won't be the wild card.
It means they have to beat
It
Cincinnati.
means that means they're going to beat
I mean,
St.
St.
Louis
Louis,
6
Cincinnati.
times.
Let's do a
and
double.
Milwaukee.
Let's do a double or nothing on the Snickers because I still owe you a Snickers.
All right,
Let's
we'll
do
go
a
double or nothing on
double
the
or
Snickers.
nothing on
I
What's
that.
this bet? You got to clarify. You
I'll
muddied
even-
it
I'll
up
even
so
throw
much.
in a
They'll
Milky
win.
Way.
Pirates will win 100 and still be a wild card.
And I'll throw in a Milky Way.
But if I might interject though,
Don't put the peppermint
The
patty on
Pirates.
it. Though.
the Pirates as a wild card. What the thing that bothers me most, and this is the hard thing about football. I mean, it's single elimination. Is that you could have such a fantastic season, and it come down to one game, and lose and be gone.
So
It's
what?
the same way it
Memorable
is.
season.
You know what? That's the same way it is in pro football.
That's what
You
I
know,
said,
we
you
you
know.
know.
Don't compare apples and oranges.
No, it's
Don't
one and
compare.
it's one
Stay
and
in your
done.
lane, buddy.
No, it's one and you're done. Okay.
You know what? This is a miracle. It took our 199th show. Chip, listen. Just relax 1 second. Here's what happened here. This is like unbelievable. He now told you to stay in your lane, okay, which is baseball. So his lane's football. So where is he coming from on every show? And you got these two. These two are going like this. They're like bobbleheads.
I'm learning.
No, you're not, because what you're saying showed no learning. You said stay in your own lane.
But to get back to what we were talking
Yeah,
about,
that's why I want you to get there.
The series this weekend will be one to watch, and then we finish up the year with 3 games against St. Louis here. So
Are you happy, Chip, that Hurdle tweaked the rotation?
Yes.
To get Garrett Cole
Yes.
against St. Louis coming up.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what a good manager does
yeah,
in a pennant race.
and absolutely, it makes perfect sense because had they not switched Garrett Cole has never beaten the Cincinnati Reds as a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, and had they not switched the rotation up, he would have been scheduled to pitch Monday against the Reds. So he's going on 5 days rest, and this way he'll get to pitch Sunday against the Cardinals. So he's always fared better against the Cardinals.
Oh, then the Reds.
The Reds are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Don't get confused. Don't let this baseball
When they play
confuse.
the Cardinals.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You know what day today is?
Oh, okay. They getting ready to play the Cardinals.
You dozed off today.
After
missed a
we
day.
smoke the Brewers, okay? We're gonna knock their
But
sausages.
this
and
is what a
everything
lot
out.
of people aren't aware of. Pitchers used to pitch on 4 days rest. And, good or bad, and 5 days rest, he's a big horse. Sure, he's got more innings than he's ever pitched, longer into a season, but that's what he's built for.
No, that's what he's built for, and Clint Hurdle has done a great job at managing his pitching staff all year, whether they be short relievers, long relievers, middle relief, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's getting a proper amount of rest, and he's not burning out his pitching staff. And right now, you look at what's going on with our pitching staff. We really only need to get 6 solid innings out of our starting pitchers. We've got a shutdown pitcher for the 7th, a shutdown pitcher for the 8th, and then we got Mark Melanson, the best closer in baseball.
43 saves.
Well, I would love to see a 20-game winner out of one of the pitchers.
You know what? I'd like to see the Steelers be 12-4.
Hey,
You know what, Jim?
I'm not.
I know,
It's
to
my
speak to your
fault. It's
point-
Smoking Jim's fault and my fault for pushing, the torch with as far as baseball goes and the monotony of it. But right now, Smoking Jim, right
You
now,
can't even say that. It's your opinion.
right now, the Pirates, Smoking Jim, appeared to, in all intents and purposes, to be legitimately a solid baseball team. Fundamentally, from top to bottom, they made some moves that we might have questioned because of the name quality.
Because you don't
but
understand the game.
I understand the game. I listen to it. I watch it. So I sit out on my.
We don't.
But I'm
Again,
not
we hear
speaking on
opinions,
Smoking
but-
Jim. But I think
Oh,
that
man, my
they're a
mic must be
legitimate
going
contender,
bad.
Smoking Jim. And I mean, in one game, hey, it's a coin flip. But they got some horses over
But
there.
to speak to Jim's point,
Which one?
that he thinks that he would like to see one of the pitchers win 20 games. Here's what I wish.
Wouldn't you?
I wish none of the pitchers would win 20 games and they win a World Series.
You get your wish. You get your wish, at least half of it.
No, oh, yeah, we're gonna.
Disclaimer again: if you learned anything here, don't even call in. See me
we're
privately.
talking about Cole like he's a Hall of Famer and he can't get to 60 wins.
You know what? I have a question for you, Smoking Jim. Do you know anybody that got in the Hall of Fame after their first year?
He's been around.
No, even their second year.
been
Even their
around.
third year.
Since 2013.
The rookie, who's the rookies for the?
We got
for
a
the-
Rookie of the Year who's not a Rookie of the Year
I'm talking
anymore.
about the Mets. I'm talking about the Miracle Mets in the '60s. Didn't they have a couple rookie pitchers that was
It doesn't
top of their
matter,
game?
but they're not-
Severs.
yeah,
They're
but they
not
didn't get
gonna-
elected into the Hall of
But
Fame
they
until
were
after they
were Hall of
retired.
Famers as
He
a
doesn't
rookie.
know they
You
were.
see that they're like
He
they're
doesn't
going
understand.
in 20 wins.
Do you know how many
They had
Hall
to
of
drop
Fame?
the
Stay in
mound.
your
They had
lane.
to drop the mound.
Stay in your lane.
They got to lower the mound.
Stay
for
in
the
your
boy.
lane.
Do you know how many
You're a
Hall of
counter
Famers-
puncher. You don't even
Let's
fucking-
raise the mound for
Do
Cole.
you know how many Hall of Famers had one good season?
Oh,
None.
I know. Okay, good
None.
point. Good point. Good point.
Thanks for putting up with our nonsense. Smoking Jim is one of the greatest counter punchers in history, except for one thing. If you give a fact, he doesn't have one.
You know what though? But let us not forget though that Smoking Jim still clings to two crucial picks in his whole career of scouting: Ike Taylor and Antonio Brown.
Yes,
And
sir.
And
Yes,
that's
sir.
it. And he's going down with the ship. Two picks in the
Speaking of Ike
brothers
Taylor
came through
and
for
Antonio Brown, let's do our Steelers segment because we had quite the debacle on Saturday afternoon when we went to Orchard Park.
I love Rex Ryan.
You know, and I'll tell you what, he didn't love the
Steeler hater.
Steelers. I'm telling you, that the Steelers are in serious hot water, deep
I don't
water
think
right
so.
now. I think they're in over their head. Their defense, I don't know if they could catch a cold right now.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, they're in a bad place. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to say about
I
it.
mean, there was a terrible defense down in for the Saints, and Drew Brees and company just outscored their opponents. So if Big Ben and company with the weapons that he has and taught,
You mean the ones that aren't being suspended for drug use?
Hey, what can you do? What can you do? I heard it was steroids, then I heard it was drugs. I mean,
Well,
Marijuana.
to pass the test 4 times when you know about it,
Yeah.
that is when you use the word egregious.
Yeah.
I would trade.
'Cause-
I would
and it's
trade.
stupid. Well, you may not get anything for him right now.
If I can get that 6th-round pick back for the kicker.
Well,
I would trade
I'm
for
going to
that.
give you the word that is still the word.
You don't want that fifth round
Rebuilding.
pick back?
Yeah.
For Boykin?
And when you're rebuilding and you give subpar players to the coaches, it doesn't matter.
So, let me put this out to our panel. Alan, what do you think the Steelers are going to do? What's their record going to be this year?
I'm on the fence right now because they're not going to be great. We know that.
Okay?
And we had some injuries.
Just need a number.
I'm between 6 and 8 wins, but I can't pin it down right now because I looked at that schedule again,
Tough.
and
Unfairly
even though
tough.
free agency's taking a toll on a couple of the teams, but not the basic core team. Our team, I'm going 8 and 8 because they're not great.
Okay, Zach, what do you got?
you know me, I'm going 10 and 6 in the mix.
Okay.
8 and 8 with Levine. The Levine point.
And I'm gonna reverse Zach's numbers, and I'm saying 6 and 10.
He
What
told
does
me he was
Zach
going to
say?
surprise
You
it,
said
so I
10
didn't want to
6.
steal
10
it.
and
That's-
6. 10 and 6.
I tipped you off earlier when I said 6.
This is the thing. I think our offense is gonna be great. That goes without saying. But if we can't stop anybody, it doesn't matter how many points you're going to score because if the other team gets the ball last, he who scores last
What
wins.
if? What
Hold it,
if
the
my
control
man
room,
had-
Matt Harkins, 9 and 7, no playoffs.
Ooh.
He already got his world championship.
Oh, I
ring
meant
too.
I meant 6 and 10 and winning the AFC North.
Yeah, that might
Hey,
win.
they win the AFC North. They're in the
They're in
playoffs,
the
baby.
playoffs.
That's how it works.
Was
Big
Seattle win
chance.
1 year 7 and 9 and
Yeah.
won the
Yeah.
division
Yeah.
1 year years ago?
Wow, what's going on with this? My name keeps coming up in light. John, can you check the camera or something? Or it might be microphone trouble.
So now we're a couple of weeks away from the Penguins going to training camp.
I heard Duper's looking good.
No, time's going to tell on that.
Yeah, they said he
Everybody
looks awesome.
everybody looks good when you're going into training camp, and then reality slaps
Yeah,
you in
but
the
from
face.
what happened with him and coming back
Well,
from his
and
injuries.
and I'm still, the jury's out on him right now. I mean, I love Pascal Dupuis, but is he going to be able to withstand the rigors of an 82-game schedule? I don't know if he's got that in him. He's had a recurrence of these blood clots, and there's got to be something that's causing them. They're treating a symptom, not the cause. So I don't know if it's
one
not
problem
going
is
to happen again.
if you're getting rid, not to be a doctor, I'm not a doctor, no disclaimer here, I'm not. But if you're taking blood thinning medicine, which you have to take with blood clots, guess what that makes you prone to, guys?
Bleeding out.
Excessive bleeding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
if
you can literally not get cut. You know what I mean? And
bleed internally.
Yeah. Well, the bleeding internally. I guess that's.
Say you got hit and one of your organs or something got injured, you could bleed internally and not know for a while.
But right now, I was listening to an interview with Mike Rutherford, and the Penguins aren't set yet. They do want to make some more moves, and they do want to clear up some more salary cap space, which would the only way of doing that is to make a trade. Right now, nobody's interested in talking trade because you can't even get a hold of the players right now.
No.
Nobody's in the same place. So
They're still
I wouldn't
golfing.
be too surprised to see another move made before the start of the season. They've done a lot of work at improving their forward position, but the problem that they have now is they've got a lot of young, untested defensemen. They don't have a lot of depth at defense. They brought in Sergei Gonchar, and the guy's 41 years old, and there's talk that he may end up make the team. And that's bad if you can say a 41-year-old is going to be one of your top 6 defensemen. That doesn't say a lot for your quality.
He might stay in tremendous shape. That's not. If AJ Burnett could, could keep throwing.
Good point.
But AJ Burnett also isn't playing a sport as physical as hockey is.
He's not getting
It's
hit.
it's the second most violent sport behind professional football. So,
But he's Russian and he's tough.
no, we'll see.
He's not in the military there.
We'll
How
see.
far do you think the Penguins will go this year? What's your prediction?
Man,
Well,
that's
too early
it's too early to predict. But I will say this: if you do not make the playoffs in the NHL, then I'm thinking that the coach and the general manager both need to get fired because half the teams in the NHL make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So them making the playoffs, I could see that happening. We're going to have to see what kind of team they present as to whether or not they're going to make a run.
And are Crosby and Malkin going to stay healthy for a whole season?
Well, one of the things that they have done, and Rutherford was talking about this in his interview yesterday morning, is that they got rid of their entire training staff and they brought in a whole bunch of new people, people with different points of view on taking care of the players. So hopefully that kind of a change will make a difference. And because I tell you what, the amount of injuries that this team has gone through in the last 5 years, you'd have to think that they're hexed or something like that. I mean, is there a curse or something? I mean, it's really kind of
Don't talk to
unusual.
these guys
So many
about
different
curses.
things have happened that don't happen to anybody else.
Don't talk about curses to
Two
these
kickers
two
got
guys.
hurt in one training camp for the season. That's
And
a
the
curse.
funny thing is, neither of them got touched. Garrett Hartley kicking off.
No, Sweezum kind of grounded himself
He
into the
went to
ground.
tackle.
With like a goofball. Our kicker got to make a tackle in a preseason game. Way to
And
go.
maybe they shouldn't let the kickers kick off because that's how Hartley hurt himself.
But real quick as we wind down though, don't you think though when you can't really, like I said, you can't really do anything, Levine, with these guys until the summertime, like really do anything with them because of the CBA that they signed? Doesn't you think that kind of like puts teams in a bind when you got guys getting hurt right out the gate
Zach,
first week?
I'll just tell you this much. That was a compromise. I'm in total agreement that they need to hit. That's the sport. But due to other circumstances, financial and physical, they're going to have tons of lawsuits coming up with this next group of guys.
And that's it in a nutshell. The NFL is doing everything it can to avoid litigation at this point.
That's why you see this, Zach. And we're going to end the show. Thanks, Zach Brenner. Appreciate your opinions and thoughts. Smoking Jim, you just come up with some nuggets that are unbelievable. Chip, always a pleasure. Appreciate it.
Take me out to the ball game.
And I want to thank everybody for watching our show. Be safe out there and stay Joey strong.